The Supreme Court told the Trump administration early Saturday not to take any action to deport Venezuelan men it alleges are gang members, effectively hitting the pause button on deportations within the jurisdiction of the Northern District of Texas. In a brief order, the court directed the Trump administration not to remove Venezuelans held in Texas' Blue Bonnet Detention Center until further order from the court. Justice
went after New York City Mayor Eric Adams for the migrant crisis which is plaguing this city.
You told them to come, man. Let's like everybody we're not gonna let none of the Democrats off the hook who were saying they had sanctuary cities and they were saying come on in, come on in, come on in. And that's when Republicans started shipping them, and then that's when they was like, everybody stop. It's too much. That's what they were trying to tell you from the beginning, but you didn't want to listen.
He gets right to the point, doesn't he? Chris Oliveras with the Texas Department of Public Safety joins me now. All right, Chris, the sanctuary laws, that's the real problem here, is it? Apart from an open border.
It is, Stuart. Great to be with you, of course. You look back at all the messaging from those that were for open borders, these pro-immigration activists that wanted immigrants to come to the United States and provide all these benefits and resources. Well, this is a creation of that problem. It's the reality of the situation. When you have that type of messaging, when you encourage illegal immigrants to make their way to the United States and you give them all these benefits, well, it's going to encourage more to come. Now they're dealing with the problem and they don't like it. And that even goes back even further than that, Stuart. They were criticizing the state of Texas, Governor Abbott, when he started busting illegal immigrants to New York City. That created a national attention, which was needed because this is a national problem. And now they don't want these people there. Now they see the type of issues they're having, not only economically, but also crime. Now we have this new category of migrant crime that's taking place because they're allowing so many people to come into this country, and they're also, resettling in some of these states. New York is a perfect example where you see all this crime taking place. You have criminal gangs in other countries that establish themselves now in New York City, and it's all because of what they encourage. And they continue to encourage this, and it's unfortunate, but that's the reality of the situation that's beyond what we're seeing at the border right now.
Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito dissented. The court acted overnight following an emergency appeal from the ACLU.
ACLU provides legal assistance in cases where it considers civil liberties at risk. Legal support from the ACLU can take the form of direct legal representation or preparation of amicus curiae briefs expressing legal arguments when another law firm is already providing representation. In addition to representing persons and organizations in lawsuits, the ACLU lobbies for policy positions established by its board of directors. The ACLU's current positions include opposing the death penalty, supporting same-sex marriage and the right of LGBTQ plus people to adopt, supporting reproductive rights such as birth control and abortion rights, eliminating discrimination against women, minorities, and LGBTQ plus people, decarceration in the United States, protecting housing and employment rights of veterans, reforming sex offender registries, and protecting housing and employment rights of convicted first-time offenders, supporting the rights of prisoners and opposing torture, upholding the separation of church and state by opposing government preference for religion over non-religion or for particular faiths over others, and supporting the legality of gender-affirming treatments, including those that are government-funded for trans youth.
The Trump administration is expected to return to the Supreme Court quickly in order to persuade the justices to lift the order.
On November 18th, a woman was walking home when a man grabbed her and pulled her behind the bushes at the W&OD trail in Herndon and raped her, according to court documents. Police say Dennis Humberto Navarrete Romero raped the woman, and he's in the U.S. illegally.
We haven't had a stranger rape in over 12 years that I've been here as chief.
Maggie DeBoard is the Herndon police chief.
There should be full prosecution so this never happens again.
According to court documents, Navarrete Romero is unemployed and receives public assistance, and according to court documents and documents obtained by WJLA through a public records request, he's accused of several crimes in the past, including sex crimes in D.C., resisting arrest in D.C., and in Virginia. He's accused of assaults, battery, trespassing, using a stolen vehicle, weapon violations, drinking and smoking marijuana in public, loitering, and indecent exposure.
But now we've determined that there was an allegation made in 2017 involving him with sexual type battery against several juveniles.
This comes amidst ongoing criticism from the Trump administration's approach to deportations. On Friday, Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen met with Kilmer Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man who was mistakenly deported to a prison in El Salvador in what Justice Department officials have called a clerical error.
Depriving Kilmer of his constitutional rights is a threat to everybody who resides in America. He had not heard them. I believe that gave him additional strength.
Legal migrant from Honduras was arrested after he was accused of stabbing a teenage girl at a baseball game in Indiana on Saturday.
This coming as a new report reveals migrants are making up 75% of the arrests in some parts of New York City.
Multiple arrests with the same people. Griff Jenkins is here with more. Griff. Yeah, good morning, guys. Look, the border crisis really hit home in the Midwest this weekend. Let's start there. Previously deported illegal immigrant from Honduras was arrested Sunday, authorities said, following an intense manhunt in Indiana after he was deemed a person of interest. Here he is. You see him, Dimas Gabriel Yanez, 26 years old. Now, the Lake County Sheriff's Office says the manhunt began Saturday after a 14-year-old girl was stabbed in the hand with a butcher-style knife while at her brother's baseball game. When the girl's mother tried to help, the migrant also tried to stab her before fleeing. Now, the teen girl is okay, was treated and released from a hospital. Yanez was apprehended Sunday after cops spotted him running through a cornfield. Investigators said he was in the process of trying to cut his hair to change his appearance and evade law enforcement. The sheriff's office said Yanez had been previously deported to Honduras in 2018 and, quote, may have been engaged in criminal activity across the United States since returning illegally. Meanwhile, as you mentioned, Ainsley, in New York, police sources tell the New York Post 75%, 3 out of 4 arrests in Midtown Manhattan for crimes like assault, robbery, domestic violence are migrants. In parts of Queens, they say the figure is more than 60%, and guess what? They blame sanctuary laws for this spike. And it's interesting to point out, Mayor Eric Adams has been called on the city council to change those sanctuary laws, try and get it under control. And finally, if you dig a little deeper in this New York Post article, it talks about the rise of that Tren de Aragua, that dangerous Venezuelan gang that's taken a foothold in parts of the country like Aurora, Colorado, and in New York City. Remember, they were tied to the shooting of 2 NYPD officers. They say this threat is growing by the day. Guys? And Griff, in that New York Post article, it also talks about these same migrants who game the system to come into the country. They know exactly how the system works in the sanctuary cities. They'll go steal some stuff. They know they're going to get arrested, but they'll be out in 15 minutes. That's right. In fact, there's a quote in the article from a anonymous person that works in the courts that says, come Mondays, it's all migrants.
Right. The Supreme Court ruled earlier this month that the Trump administration must take action to facilitate Abrego Garcia's release. But the Trump administration now maintains Abrego Garcia will never return to the U.S. Van Hollen and a growing number of civil rights advocates are lobbying for Garcia's safe return.
The White House and the president have been lying about this case from the beginning.
Since March 15th, the Trump administration has sent 5 flights of deportees to El Salvador under a deal with its president to imprison detainees the Trump administration believes to be part of criminal gangs.
A sheer coincidence.
In a horrific and gruesome crime that has sent shockwaves across New York City, a man set a woman on fire inside the New York City subway train and used a shirt to fan the flames, causing her to become engulfed in fire. The suspect, accused of killing the woman, has been charged with murder in a New York court. This incident has left New Yorkers grappling with questions of safety and inaction by others to save her. As the flames engulfed her body, shocking footage shows a group of onlookers, including some police officers, who either watched or walked past without offering any help. Amid the chaos, an NYPD officer stationed outside the subway car seemingly did nothing as the fire was spreading. The incident has sparked outrage across the city, with many asking just why didn't anyone intervene and help? The woman, believed to be homeless, was reportedly asleep when Sebastian Zapata, the main accused, allegedly set the unidentified woman's clothes on fire and then fanned the flames by waving a shirt around her, which caused the flames to fully engulf her. According to federal immigration officials, Sebastian Zapata is an undocumented immigrant from Guatemala who was deported in 2018 and returned illegally to the United States after that. It still remains unclear when and where he entered the country. His last known address was listed as a Brooklyn homeless shelter for men with substance abuse and mental health problems. He is being charged with first and second degree murder and arson charges.
Because we're a great nation, our challenges seem complex. It will always be this way. But as long as we remember our first principles and believe in ourselves, the future will always be ours. And something else we learn. Once you begin a great movement, there's no telling where it'll end. We, the people. We, the people, tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We, the people, are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go, and by what route, and how fast. Almost all the world's constitutions are documents in which governments tell the people what their privileges are. Our Constitution is a document in which we, the people, tell the government what it is allowed to do. We, the people, are free. But man is not free unless government is limited. There's a clear cause and effect here that is as neat and predictable as a law of physics. As government expands, liberty contracts. Nothing is less free than pure communism. We must keep up our guard, but we must also continue to work together to lessen and eliminate tension and mistrust. It's still trust, but verify. It's still play, but cut the cards. It's still watch closely, and don't be afraid to see what you see. You won every battle with every call you made and letter you wrote demanding action. Well, action is still needed. This national feeling is good, but it won't count for much, and it won't last unless it's grounded in thoughtfulness and knowledge. An informed patriotism is what we want. And are we doing a good enough job teaching our children what America is and what she represents in the long history of the world? We've got to do a better job of getting across that America is free. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of enterprise, and freedom is special and rare. It's fragile. It needs production. So we've got to teach history based not on what's in fashion, but what's important. Why the Pilgrims came, who Jimmy Doolittle was, and what those 30 seconds over Tokyo meant. If we forget what we did, we won't know who we are. Let's start with some basics. More attention to American history and a greater emphasis on civic ritual. And let me offer lesson number one about America. All great change in America begins at the dinner table. So tomorrow night in the kitchen, I hope the talking begins. And children, if your parents haven't been teaching you what it means to be an American, let them know and nail them on it. That would be a very American thing to do. I've spoken of a shining city all my political life, but I don't know if I ever quite communicated what I saw when I said it. But in my mind, it was a tall, proud city built on rocks stronger than oceans, windswept, God-blessed, and teeming with people of all kinds living in harmony and peace. Goodbye. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.